Like somebody had said something disrespectful to her. They said it to me. She heard it. I didn't address it. So then that became a whole, bruh. That became.
So wait. You didn't say keep my girl's name out your motherfucking mouth.
I didn't do that. Exactly. and I didn't do that, and she took great offense to that.
So she found out. Turns out she was pregnant when her and I got together that last time. So my relationship ended, and for some unholy reason, I decided to start contacting her and talking and start talking on the phone. She was
homewrecker.
I am a homewrecker.
Travis was a homewrecker.
I have been that dude. That Mr. Steal Your Girl. That
Terrible.
Was definitely fucking me. I'm not gonna lie about it at all. I've been Mr. Steal Your. I've been Chris Brown.
There's a lot of Judases out here. There are a lot of people who want to be around you to see you fall.
Oh yeah.
But they'll support you all the way.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, not only do we chase our destruction, but we fucking stay in it once we find out that it's destroying us. But the most damaging part is you staying in that shit long term and making excuses why you're staying in it, giving reasons, trying to validate whatever it may be why you're staying in this situation rather than choosing to make the hard choice sometimes to step away from this situation,
right,
to save yourself. Sometimes from yourself.
Yes.
Welcome to the Warrior's Way Home podcast.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Warrior's Way Home podcast. I'm your co-host Edmund, here with my brother Travis.
What's up, guys?
And here at the Warrior's Way Home, we are here to help men define their masculinity and become capable, well-rounded warriors.
Absolutely.
What we're here to do for today's episode is that we want to talk about, unfortunately, an issue.
I wanted to talk about it.
Yes,
reluctantly.
I didn't want to do
this. I dragged him in on this one.
He did. Drag me into the muck.
Gonna play in the mud today.
All right, okay. So we're gonna talk about how men chase their destruction. Big Willie Style. So, we're talking about this whole Will and Jada situation.
Partly, and how it relates to average to every man.
She can't keep getting away with this. She has to be stopped. She is the female future. And not like the future, like the future of women, the future of the rapper. Like, she is terribly toxic, and I don't understand how we're paying her for this. How did we stoop so low?
He hit it.
Listen, you're right. It is completely his fault. That's the trick question. Fellas, look at me here.
The whole key to this is be careful what you put your dick in.
It's your fault. If you're dealing with crazy, it's your fault. And you gotta realize that the women that you choose in life,
the people you choose.
The people you choose in life, man. You gotta make a decision. You gotta be able to think. I will die on this hill. You have to think so far ahead when you're dealing with new people, or if you're dealing with people that you've been dealing with for a long time. They've been married for. We don't know how long they've been married.
I think it's like 27 years, something like that.
We don't know, because apparently they've been separated since 2016. I don't get it. Why? Remember when J. Cole was like, I want that Jada and that Will love? We can't even use that bar
all
anymore.
Rappers have said that, man. It's been a part of hip hop and popular culture where people they want that Will and Jada. They compare the Will and Jada with the Cosby love and the Will and Jada.
That's a stretch. But we can't even use that no more. We are running out of good examples of healthy marriage.
Well, it's one of those things that shows that saying, what's done in the dark will come to the light eventually. It's like, because if you put on a front, because that's all that's been going on. And just to be clear, it's like we're not just talking about just him and Jada. We're talking about what the things men do to chase their own destruction. And that's why we're talking about this. Is because the dysfunction there is just, if you needed to find the definition of dysfunctional relationship, it would be that picture of Will going like this, pointing at Jada on the red carpet. That would be the picture in the fucking dictionary of dysfunctional relationship. And like you said, it's like, it is his fault. He chose to do this. And just to make it clear, I really think that, I don't think he only has a dysfunctional relationship with Jada. I think that's probably, he has more people in his life like that. I don't think it's just her. It's probably a symptom of bigger things with him. It's but it's one of those things that if you're not careful as a man, can destroy your entire life and everything you've built over how old is fucking Will Smith? Like in his 60s, right?
Nah. He's like in his maybe it's like early
50s.
Early 50s.
Yeah, so
had to be early 50s.
Over probably a 30-year career, something like that, if not longer. Is like it took him 30 years to build it, and in less than 2-3 years, it can completely be destroyed.
But here's the thing, though. Like he's one of those people. He's one of those celebrities who's online a lot. Mm-hmm. Living his best life. It looks like he is having the time of his life.
It shows you not to fall into this whole social media hype. No. Dudes, with all the women and the cars and all this other bullshit.
Happy life.
You
have no idea what they're going through.
What's actually happening in the background.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Like your son's friends are banging your wife. Like what's going on? Like it's not cool.
Getting all entangled with your lady.
You know what I'm saying? But okay, so. With a dysfunctional relationship, let's kind of talk about some of the experiences that we've had. Let's bring it back down to earth, and let's keep it short.
Because right under that dysfunctional relationship, there'd be a picture of me going.
Right. Like, this is what it looks like when you're rich and when you're not so rich. But yeah, like let's. What was an example for you of like when you knew you were in a dysfunctional relationship?
And here's the thing: there are signs. There are signs. There are signs. There are red flags. Sometimes there's fucking banners with flashing lights. Like you're in a Chinese parade. Mm-hmm. It's like, and I've had those for sure. Where it's like everything in me is telling me, don't do this. And I was like, it'll be fine. It'll work. And no, it was not fine. I've had it happen in multiple relationships, unfortunately. So I'm really talking about something that I know, where I can't say that these women led me to destruction. I was running a destruction myself. They were just the vehicle sometimes that I was, using to
they pulled up like, get in, loser. We're gonna ruin your life.
Yeah, it's like, you want to ride where we're going over that cliff.
Right.
It's just like so. They were just the Uber to my destruction. It was a choice that I made. There was. I can't say there's been a lot of women, but there's one that I can think of that I'm like, I should probably never fucking mess with this chick whatsoever. And you know who you're, and I'm joking. But the signs were all there to just leave this situation alone, and I honestly didn't. It's like, there was a baby involved, not my baby, but just and like I said, the signs are always there of something that's going on. He's gotten signs. We all get signs. We all know. It's like all of us can think of some situation, relationship, whether it be romantic or friendship, that we've ended up in that was like, we really should have left that shit alone, let that die. Mm-hmm. And I've come back for seconds. That's the thing. I have a very hard head. I have to learn things the hard way.
Yeah.
So I've come back for seconds in relationships, where I should have just left things alone. When I dealt with, I've got into a car accident behind, running behind some chick. Shit. That same chick that I'm talking about. On my way to go see her. And here's full disclosure: Travis was a super simp at one point in his life.
Clutches pearls.
I know, right? I know. So I'll put it this way: I'm not gonna give a whole lot of details because people who know her, I don't want to put her on blast like that, because I don't really have bad things to say about her. I have bad things about who I was in that relationship, who I chose to be, and who because it wasn't her fault. It's like what she did in that relationship was on her. Yeah. But what I chose to do in that relationship, that's on me.
Right.
It's like, that's on me. So I'm not going to say that she was a terrible person or anything like that. No, I just chose to put up with shit that I shouldn't have. Mm. That's really all that was. So
let's call her, I don't know, picking a random name out the dictionary, Jada.
Okay, my Jada.
What did your Jada do?
My Jada, we dated in high school.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we were sophomores and ended up dating. She was into your boy. Your boy was been like that for a long time. So she was in your boy, hunted me a little bit, and when she put those fangs in me, she got me. So I dated her for a little while. Long story short, she ended up saying, and this is how karma comes back to bite you in the ass. Yeah, she said she loved me after about a month, and I wasn't really about that life, so I dumped her.
I love you. We're done. We're done here.
Pretty much.
You just had to ruin it.
Pretty much. It's like, because after a month, I was like, I don't even know if it was a month. I was like, she was like, I love you. And I'm like, there's no way you can fucking love somebody at that long. And at the time in my life, the last thing I want to hear somebody say out their life was they love me. That was the absolute last thing. That was the quickest way to get me to leave you the fuck alone, no matter who you were. I didn't believe that shit whatsoever. Somebody said they love me. I'm like, what's your
what do you want?
Yeah, what do you want? What are you after?
Right.
What are you after? I thought of it had strings attached to it. So anyway, long story short, I dumped her. Years later, after high school, ran back across her somehow. I don't even remember how. We linked back up. Started talking to her, everything like that, and for a little second we were talking. After high school, I was working. Had a night together, and she disappeared, and just ghosted. So I was like, okay. So ended up dating some other girl. I wrote her some kind of message thinking I needed closure. I was like, I need closure on this because she just disappeared. Never had a conversation about what the fuck happened. Wouldn't answer her phone. Wrote her a message. Long story short, my relationship ended, and she ended up contacting me. No, she contacted me while I was in my relationship. That's the other thing. She contacted me while I was dating this other girl, and was like, first like, oh yeah, I'm sorry I did that. I was like, I'm pregnant. And I was like, whoa. I was like, hold up, wait a minute. And I'm like, wait, no, that's not mine. So she found out, turns out she was pregnant when her and I got together that last time.
Gotcha.
So my relationship ended, and for some unholy reason, I decided to start contacting her and talking, and we started talking on the phone. She was unhappy. I am a homewrecker.
Travis was a homewrecker.
I have been that dude. That Mr. Steal Your Girl, that was definitely fucking me. I'm not gonna lie about it at all. I've been Mr. Steal Your. I've been Chris Brown. I've been Chris Brown. That's why I don't like that song so much. Is your man on the floor if he's not looking up? That's been me. That's been me. Like I'll snap. You will turn around. She will be gone. I've been that dude. I don't do it anymore. But I'm reformed. But she was in a relationship. Wasn't happy with her baby daddy and everything like that. She was pregnant. And I was dealing with this girl. Like, hey, da 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 da. Started talking. Started catching feelings. And she left old boy. One night she's like, come over. I want to see you. Mind you, pregnant. This is how stupid Travis is. Decided to take that drive and got in a fucking car accident on my way over there. Went to make a left-hand turn, thought it was a green arrow. I'm sitting on the phone with her. It was actually a green light. Boom, hit another car. Totaled out my first fucking car.
Damn.
Bright side, I was alive. Not bright side, I must have had head damage before the accident because I'm just an idiot. So got a new car, still went and messed with her. If that wasn't a sign to like leave somebody the fuck alone, I'm just letting you guys know, sir. That's not. Listen to the fucking signs. It'll save you money, which has cost me. It'll save you time, which has cost me. It'll save you pain, which it has cost me.
Hey guys, quick interruption to the episode. Let me tell you about the 8 Inner Gates, our personal growth and self-mastery course that's been showing men just like you how to get unstuck and take their life, relationships, career, or even business to the next level. The same principles that have helped us to find purpose, overcome depression, command respect, dominate in our careers, and become honorable men, we're now sharing with our brothers. So if you want more of this life, you know you're capable of achieving more of this life, and you're tired of just drifting through it, click down in the description of the episode or in the pinned comment and gain access to the first 2 lessons in the course, completely free on us. Click now and begin unlocking the gates blocking your success.
Right. But anyway, I just put it like, it did not get better from there. Mm-hmm. Okay, that was like that was as good as it got at that point. It got so much fucking worse.
You said
seconds, thirds, fourths. Like when
you see what thinking what your dick gets you? Not far. It gets you about that far from where it's standing out at. Like it's come home.
That's what you got my son. I'm just
terrible. How does this happen?
But man, a lot of it was just super shit I hadn't dealt with in myself. Super insecure with who I was, and put myself in situations where honestly I'm like, was I punishing myself? Because honestly, I think that now I must have been just punishing myself, bro. Yeah. So like I said, that's just his first example. It did not get better than that. There was, another dude involved. There was some domestic violence involved, not on my hand. Travis almost, got some charges put on him. I'm just going to put it out that way. Yeah, it did not get better from there. It just, imagine like the ghetto hood story of Romeo and Juliet, and that's how that shit ended up in Travis.
Lord. Yeah. Nobody lived in the regular version.
Yeah, nobody almost lived in this one either. This is
Terrible.
Yeah, but that was my experience. So it's like, so when I talk about the Jada, the dysfunctional relationship, I'm not talking about it as making fun of this dude. I'm just saying, God, we can find ourselves up in these situations, not very hard, especially if you're not working on yourself.
Right.
So it's very easy to end up in these entanglements and just very stupid.
Yeah.
Like I could write a movie about some of the shit that I've done, and it would do very well. Mm-hmm. Like Medea would star in it.
Those movies are not very good to me. But
they're not good.
Yeah.
They're not good. What I'm saying is like, you want to see some fucking drama though, go look one of those movies.
Facts.
Mm-hmm.
So
what about you?
Pass.
Denied.
So I did. I had a Jada. I've had a couple of Jadas, but
it's the only one.
Well, I try very hard to keep a pretty chill, low profile. Mm-hmm. This was not one of those times. So this was during my hot boy summer. Let's put it that way. There was a point where
Edmonds was a thought.
I was a thought.
See, I was just a homewrecker. I wasn't a thought. I was just a homewrecker.
I was for the streets. But no, it was me and a friend of mine.
Okay.
One of my homies. We went way back, and for whatever reason, there was just a period of time, about a year, maybe 2 years, where we was just running amok. We would go out and try to meet girls at bars, or we would like have women that we had already knew, take them out, go do whatever, and like we would just be out hanging out.
Thought-tastic adventures.
And we really thought we were invincible. That was like our fucking, like, once it was all over, that was our motto. Like, we just thought we were invincible. So it's that springtime of our youth, you know. Mm. So Jada, she was a girl that I went to high school with.
Okay.
And we were all adults at this point. She was actually in college. I was on my second year of dropping out. So you're right. I was a sophomore dropout.
That'll be a story for a future episode. Second year dropping out.
Right. Well, no. It was the short of it is I was going to community college for a little while.
Okay.
I had 2 jobs. I really wanted to work. I didn't want to go to school.
Gotcha.
So I dropped out of school to work, and then lost both of those jobs and ended up going back to school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but this was during the time where I was in transition of going back to school. So she was going to the school I ended up graduating from.
Oh, okay.
But she was on campus, and this was a summer where, like when you have like 4 people in a dorm, mm-hmm. and most people leave to go somewhere else for the summer, but one person stays. Well, when you stay, you basically get to keep your room, and you get access to the common room, which is like just the living room and the kitchen. So for all intents and purposes, it's like you have your own apartment with 3 rooms you can't get into, but you still got the bathrooms and all that stuff. So she technically had her own place. She was staying on campus, and I was always up there because a lot of the people that I was hanging out with were going to school at that time. Okay. I didn't feel responsible enough to do like a 4-year right away.
Gotcha.
So I did a 2-year first. So I went up there one day. This is like when I was actually talking to somebody at the time, but I was on my way out of I was basically leaving one Jada for another, which is don't go hopping from woman to woman until you're some type of healed. Otherwise, you're just getting into shenanigans.
So don't upgrade Jada's.
Don't upgrade Jada. It wasn't even an upgrade, bro. Oh my God. So basically what happened was I went up there, and this is when we started kind of talking. There were other people. They were basically having some kind of kickback or whatever. There was other guys that was in the room because I'm attached to her as far as like how I know everybody else.
Right.
They were like, oh, so like when are you, like you and so-and-so gonna hook up or whatever? And I was like, oh, I'm down. And then the guys, it was weird because the other guys in the room looked at each other and then they looked at me. And it was like, oh.
Okay, we're gonna pause there for a second. That's not a good sign.
It's not a good sign.
Just so we can make that clear for those of you guys who don't know, that's not a good sign when somebody asks you that and the rest of the guys look like, I don't know when. That's not a good sign.
Right.
That's how certain adult movies start. We'll put it that way.
For sure.
Okay, continue.
So something happens where like they're like, oh, we're gonna go to the store to go grab some stuff for the party.
Right.
And I was like, oh, I'll ride with y'all. And it was like the two guys that I looked at each other and I noticed them, and then like one other guy. So basically, all the guys go get stuff from the store, and they're like, "Hey, so we noticed that you said you thinking about hooking up with so and so with Jada. You know, this is what we've heard about her.
Oh,
that we just want to make sure you get." And it was looking out for me like.
Yeah.
This is rare. Men normally don't look out for each other when it comes to that all the time. They didn't know me.
Yeah. Yeah.
They didn't know me at all.
If they don't know you, they don't tend to do that.
Some of your friends will let you fail. Some of your friends will
push you to fail.
Some of your friends will let you hook up with Fertile Myrtle and act like they didn't know she was already pregnant, like she was gonna get pregnant.
She's probably pregnant by him, and he's like, "Well, if she gets, if he knocks it out, he can claim it."
That's a whole other fucking. We can get into that.
So the dudes are warning you.
Yeah. So the guys were warning me like, "Hey, we know her from campus," and I was like, "Oh shit, I know her from high school." Mm-hmm. So like, thanks for the heads up, but I think I got it here. You know what I'm saying? I had already kind of knew how she rolled. So months later or however much time it was later, I do end up leaving the girl for her. Or technically, I just abandoned ship and hop over with her. To nobody's surprise, this does not go well. Because she was like, "Oh, I now have my everything. Oh, we're I can do all this stuff with this guy now." I never had the intention of being serious with her. I thought I had to be in a relationship. I had planned on being in a relationship with her because I knew I would get cheeks type of thing.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like I was being manipulative, but at the same time, I had a history with her anyway. So I was like, all right, I know what to deal. I know what's going to be coming up. If you feel like you have to be in a relationship just to have sex, do not get into that relationship. That is first and foremost. Because that is a terrible reason to get into any type of situation.
A lot of guys get married just for that.
A lot of guys, listen, and they lose half their shit. You know what I'm saying? If not more.
Or end up with a Jada.
Exactly. So being somebody else's wife,
and you wish you would just take half your shit.
Exactly. But yeah, so that was the mistake on my part, and because I had never planned on taking the relationship serious. You're already coming in with like 1 foot out the door, so you don't care. You're not invested in the outcome of the relationship, right. As opposed to this other person that is. So when things happen, like somebody had said something disrespectful to her, they said it to me. She heard it. I didn't address it. So then that became a whole that became.
So wait. You didn't say. Keep my girl's name out your motherfucking mouth.
I didn't do that. Exactly. and I didn't do that. And she took great offense to that. To the point where I had came back and apologized.
Yeah.
Because I did realize it was wrong. I wasn't that naive at that point.
Right.
But the damage had like already kind of been done because she had told me later that she had planned on, if I hadn't apologized to her, catch this shit. If I had not apologized to her, she planned on cheating on me on that night.
Oh, she wasn't gonna break up with you. She was
just gonna cheat. Like, I'm disrespected.
So I'm just gonna go jump some bones.
Exactly,
some payback. You hurt my feelings. Some hurt your balls.
You know what I'm saying? So I was like, damn. And I was extra hurt because her friend who was like helping her do all this shit was also supposed to be a good friend of mine. You know what I'm saying? So it was like a double whammy, and I was like, oh fuck. So
so she told you that.
She told me that.
While you guys were still dating?
Yeah.
And you stayed?
I didn't say I was smart at that point. I didn't say.
I told you what my situation was. It's like
I didn't say I was bright.
I'm not the brightest crane in the box.
Listen, I told you I dropped out of college. So before I went back and got my degree, this was very much the dumb Edmund operating on all cylinders. Okay. So, but
I'm not. Hey, I don't judge stupid. Man, you hear my story, it's like I can't be like, man, that was dumb,
right? But listen, so my dumb ass was like, oh, well, thank you for your honesty, like. So this is what happened. So she was like, okay, but she didn't do it.
Yeah.
Because I had apologized before it even got to that point. But
that saves everything.
Well, no, it doesn't. Because the girlfriend called her like not that long after we like squashed it. She was like, hey, so are we still going out? And because like at this point, she caught. You know what I'm saying? She caught at this point. There's no, you already told me.
Yeah.
Now I know this person's involved. Mm-hmm. Now they're gonna try to act funny when I'm around.
Yeah.
I can't have that.
Right.
So as she picked up the phone, it was like, oh, actually, we made up, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, yeah, we made up.
Yeah, ho.
No. But I'm like, but I'm also like, I told her like, oh, I'm fucked up because we're supposed to be friends, even though at a time I also was unfair to her. You know what I'm saying? That was a whole situationship in itself.
Yeah.
That did not stop there, but there were other situations where it was like, obviously, after somebody tells you something like that, even if they don't go through with it, the fact that they were comfortable enough to do something like that off the strength of they feel disrespected, you didn't hit them, you're not the one who disrespected them, but they say, oh, this is my immediate go-to. I'm just going to jump off the cliff.
Instead of just leaving.
Your goal
is to cause chaos and bring pain.
Exactly. And that wasn't the last time something like that happened because, tit for tat. But it wasn't like I cheated first.
No, but you know, something happened. You did something, so I'm gonna do something.
Right.
You're just gonna escalate. It's like you did this, I'm gonna go here.
Right. So long story short, she did end up cheating on me with one of my best friends at that point. And I was devastated, but I wasn't surprised. Because again, I had already been taking account of the people who I was moving around and how I was moving. There's one great quote that I like. Old Japanese saying is, "Snakes follow the way of serpents." A snake is gonna do what a snake does. You know what I'm saying? So if you're moving around with people who are moving snake-like, why are you surprised that you get bit? So my best friend at that point, who had he had slept with her. Another friend of mine knew about it because they did it at his house, and this shit was deep. So I asked him, yo, why didn't you come to me and tell me that he was doing this and she was doing this? I thought you knew. That's not an excuse. Even if I knew, the fact that you're not helping me figure this shit out, everybody's got to go. I cleaned the set. Everybody's got to go. It was wholesale.
Not die? Okay.
No. Nobody died. But
overreaction.
Right. But everybody, I had to clear scorched earth.
For sure.
Because and I know I'm kind of running long, but like how I figured out how to start my journey when we talk about what brought us to the path was that she had told him to tell me that they had did this previous to me finding out, and he was like, I almost did, because I don't know what came over me, but at that point it just went, you gotta go. you gotta remove yourself, because whatever happens next will not end well. Yeah. So that was, and I was very calm with it, and I was just like, this is not right. And I walked away from that entire friend group, because I was just like, I don't know anybody in here who has my best interest at heart. So I had realized just enough, and actually we were past that situation. Actually, this was like the following year. We had talked about it and he brought it up, and I was just like, oh, this will only get worse if I stay on this path.
So wait, hold on. Let me just understand this real quick. So the dude who cheated with your girl, your best friend, you kept being friends with him after that?
I did. Because now
you win the Will Smith trophy. You win. You win. But this is why. Because mine would be murder's the case that they gave me.
Right.
It's like, but I don't think I could have done that one.
So this is one part that's missing, is that it almost came to blows. So there was a point where we were getting ready to fight over this, and then a friend of ours stopped us, who was actually much bigger than us. So shout out to you. He stopped us from getting into the altercation, because we were supposed to be like brothers, because we were supposed to be best friends. He was like, never argue over a woman. And that's one thing for the fellas as well. Do not let a woman come between your friendship if that is truly your homeboy. If that's your brother, if it's a situation like,
unless you put the dick in her, then
yes, but that's
come between us.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Blood is thicker than water. Well, let's find out.
I'm talking about like if you're both vying for the same girl.
Oh yeah, that's a different thing.
And you both haven't slept with her. Yeah. But this was a whole unique situation. So basically, we'd almost come to blows. We squash it. We talk it out the way men are supposed to. And then it was like sometime after where you don't think you're sore about a situation, but then somebody brings it up and it's like, oh fuck, it still hurts a little bit. I was never mad at her, because honestly, I had expected this type of shit from her. I was mad at him because I was supposed to be my homeboy, but also I had to take into account that I had also done some shifty shit to him at some point. So this was just a no honor among thieves. Yeah, this was a no tit for tat. This was a no honor among thieves situation. But then I had just realized that all we're doing is going back and forth, hurting each other. Hurt people are just hurting people.
Yeah.
I no longer want to be hurt, so I need to remove myself from the pain. That's where I was like, I need to make a change. And what got me started on my path, at least as far as like that full resurgence kind of went, because I was dealing with women that were no good for me. I was hanging around with homeboys that were no good for me. I felt like I couldn't trust anybody and I wasn't protected. Nobody had my back.
Yeah.
So, and even those who weren't even directly affected with the situation, they still didn't have the strength to step in and help me figure out what the situation was. You know what I'm saying? And there's a lot of people, Will might be included, where there are people who are not around or not privy to the situation or just don't care enough to help you figure out what all this bullshit is about.
Yeah, or you're just not listening.
We're not listening.
I'm pretty just like the dudes who were like, hey, bro, we heard some things.
Complete strangers came to my aid before my friends did.
We heard some things. How many people have probably told Will the same thing? Like, hey, bro, this ain't what you want.
Complete strangers.
This is not what you want.
Tried to help me before my friends did. After I was already in the shit.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's probably I'm pretty sure that he's had people in his ear like, hey man, don't do it.
Right.
Is like this is not going well. This is not going to end well.
Right.
And the fact that and even the fact that he's still in it, the fact that we, like I said, we chase, not only do we chase our destruction, but we fucking stay in it once we find out that it's destroying us. It's like that's the thing, and the big thing I want to take away from this is like, chasing your destruction in relationships with either women or friends or whatever it may be can be, damaging. But the most damaging part is you staying in that shit long term and, making excuses why you're staying in it, giving reasons, trying to validate whatever it may be why you're staying in this situation rather than choosing to make the hard choice sometimes to step away from this situation,
right,
to save yourself. Sometimes from yourself.
Yes.
Sometimes that's the hardest thing to do. So that's why it's important to have a solid group around you. Because right now it's like if you were going to that same situation right now and I was with you, I'd be smacking you around.
And I'd be like, thank you.
I'd be like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Well, hopefully I would have because some people, this is another thing. Some people will understand that they're in a very drama-ridden situation and not want to do anything about it. I'll just see how it plays out.
And that's not a good strategy. And at a certain point, is like, but here's the thing. At a certain point, if you weren't listening to that, I would stop fucking with you.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, he wants to destroy himself, so I'm gonna step back, and whatever happens is gonna happen to him. I'm just gonna sit back here. I don't want to watch this explosion. It's like, but unfortunately, it sounds like I'm gonna have to because he's still my boy. I'm just gonna sit hands off. He's like, you go do you. You do you, homie. And once that happens, hopefully, maybe I can help you pick up the pieces. Maybe.
Well, two things.
Maybe.
Why should I? Why I tried to warn you about something and you chose not to heed it. Why should I?
It's like, depending on the situation, I might just sit there and be like, bro, I told you, bro.
But it's so odd because there were times where I would be the guy who would be able to have that forethought and be like, yo, if you do this, it's going to be a problem. Yeah. You're not going to be able to recover from this. And people haven't listened and then gotten into situations, but then I was right alongside them fucking up in my own way. You can't, sometimes if that's crazy. If you're fucking up, don't listen to other fuck ups. You know what I mean? Like if you feel like you're not doing the thing you're supposed to be doing, don't listen to somebody, don't listen to your closest friends sometimes, because if you think about it, they're standing right beside you fucking up as well. People who are within the same situation than you, if you're trying to do better, they don't always have the solution. They're trying to do better as well, but they don't know what better looks like either. Yeah. So you can't take advice from people who are doing the same thing as you if you're unhappy. It's better to look towards somebody who actually is doing the thing that you want to do, or has better insight, or you feel like is in a better position than you. It's harder to find a good example of something if you're just looking amongst you, kind of thing. And
that's definitely true. Yeah. And I think at some points, in life, especially as men, when you upgrade your life, you have to upgrade your friend group as well. the same, is like, yeah, you and Pookie were talking about how to make that money when you were both working the grill at McDonald's. That's great. He's like, what are you gonna do? Yeah, man, I'm gonna flip this car. I'm gonna do this. It's like, maybe you're, selling sacks of weed, whatever it was you were doing. It's like, yeah, that's how you were doing before. But when you go from working McDonald's to working that, that white collar corporate job,
right.
You might not be able to keep rolling with Pookie, like, or I'm not gonna say you can't keep rolling with him if he decides to, upgrade with you. But if he stays where he is and he's still flipping dime sacks and, stealing rims and, bootlegging DVDs, it's like, you're working corporate. You can't be taking advice from homeboy. He's like, you can't be, he's not rolling in the same circles as you're rolling. So you need to upgrade, you upgrade your knowledge, you upgrade yourself, and when you do that, a lot of times you find yourself in a different circle in life, and that's okay. And a lot of the struggles is when dudes upgrade themselves, but they don't upgrade their environments.
Yeah.
It's like
they'll drag you back down.
The ball, look at the Migos. It's like homeboy from the Migos went back to the hood, rolling dice out there. What ends up happening? Boom, gone. It's like it's happened to a couple different rappers over the last couple of years, where they go back to what they were doing before, hanging with some of the people they were hanging before, and they end up getting got because of some stupid shit when they shouldn't have been there in the first place, man. Right. You supposedly upgraded your life, but you didn't upgrade your surroundings.
You can't always take your day ones with you.
No.
You can't.
No.
And I've always been a little different with that because I have that compartmentalization where I can walk away from most people.
Yeah.
I'm not proud of that, but it's an ability that I have. And it served me with people that I've loved. You know what I'm saying? It's people who I want to spend time with. I got to be able to walk away from you sometimes because I got to get my work done, or I'm trying to change my life and you're not being actively productive to that. If you can't, and nobody is being forced to level up their life to stay with you. People are fully aware and have the ability to live their own life. But you still got to make a judgment call where it's like, well, whatever our relationship is, if you are not benefiting me, I now have to make a decision whether I want to continue to just have you as somebody who I can rely on as a friend, or somebody who I can move forward with as a partner in something, or I still have to be very mindful going forward in everything. You have to constantly be checking yourself and those people to make sure that they have your best interests at heart, because like we say, there's a lot of Judases out here. There are a lot of people who want to be around you to see you fall. Oh yeah. But they'll support you all the way.
Yeah, you got to be careful who, you got to pay attention to who's clapping when you're doing well and who's crying when you're doing bad. It's like, you see people who, when you're doing well, aren't applauding for you, and you see people when you're doing bad, don't feel bad for you, you probably don't need to surround yourself with them.
Right.
So let's talk about, since we kind of already started melding that, what can we do? You really have to take assessment, I think, of all the people in your life, not just your romantic relationships, not just but your homeboys, family, everything like that. You got to take accountability with people every now and then, and really especially if your life's doing a certain type of thing. If your life's taking this plunge, every time you bring somebody back in your life, or every time you start dealing with somebody, you're going here, and you start dealing with somebody and it starts going fucking down. We talk about it in the group all the time. You really got to take assessment of that. It's like, you got to look at each person in your life and ask yourself, is this person good for me? Is this person good in my life? Are they adding to my life, or are they taking away? Are they in financial terms, are they a liability
or an asset?
In my life? Are you costing me more than I'm gaining from you? Because if you are, I can't rock with you like that. It's like, so you really got to take assessment of that and really take a look at the people around you. Really stop and take assessment of the people because the people you hang out with the most are going to be people you're like. That 5-10 people that you hang out with the most is like, if 5 of them are broke, you're going to be the 6th one. If 5 of them have fucked up relationship, you're going to be the 6th one.
Because they're going to egg you on to do the shit that...
Osmosis, or even just osmosis. You just, you be around somebody so long that you ever find that you start doing some of the same stuff that other people do, some of the same mannerisms that your family does, or habits, or whatever it may be. It doesn't even have to be something they intentionally do. It just could be something that you pick up. But that's a choice you make.
That's actually a good point. So the first thing should be taking account of taking an inventory of who's around you and what they're providing to your life. But also the second thing should be taking inventory of yourself.
Yes.
Figure out what habits that you've gained from other people that you don't even like, or ways of thinking, and start to do that what do you call it? That deconversion of, I think this way because of my pops, or I think this way because of my mom or my brother or my friends or my girlfriend, and I'm doing this to appease this person, or I think this way because everybody thinks that way.
Yep.
If you're thinking that way because everybody else thinks that way, you're thinking the wrong way, period.
For sure.
Because individualization, being an individual, means that you have your own thoughts, emotions, and actions that you're trying to align to your purpose. Now, it's great to be able to work with people in society and all that stuff, but you should still be an individual who is working for the greater good for the society. So it's being able to take account of people around you and yourself are vitally important.
The account thing probably needs to happen first.
Yeah, because you are just a mere...
Take account of who you are first, and then take account of people around you. For sure. So I would say those are definitely the tangibles, guys. So it's like we talked about a little bit. This is just an example, guys. Like I said, the Will Jada thing is just
you got three good examples.
It's an unfortunate, fucked up, perfect example of a not ideal situation,
right?
That just happens to be playing out, and all the truths coming out now about how. And this is these are things that have been going on for decades that we're just finding out about now. So he's chosen to stay in this
that
thing
nobody asked for
fucking decades, and that's a choice.
Yeah,
it's like my situation was a couple years. Unfortunately,
mine wasn't even a full year.
It was a couple of crazy fucking years,
right?
That I really had to learn from. And now I look back and I'm like, what the fuck were you thinking about,
dude?
It's like I wouldn't do any of those things now. Luckily, it's like, but I had to, and sometimes, guys, you're not going to be able to necessarily avoid all of it. Sometimes you're going to have to go through some of this to figure it out. Hopefully, you don't go through some of this crazy shit. If you can learn from somebody else, learn from somebody else's pain and process.
Right. Please learn from my pain, because I don't want you to have to go through that.
Yeah. To avoid these Jadas, man, duck them, curve them chicks.
Yeah, man, for sure. And that's, like you said, it's a good example because his situation was something he was dedicated to for decades. Yours was only a couple of years. Mine wasn't even a year. But it was so much shit that had led up from previous years that put me in a position to learn one of the hardest lessons I've had to learn, which is not everybody who's around you ain't for you.
Yeah.
And that includes your homeboys and your homegirls and your girlfriend and sometimes family.
Or yourself. And on that note,
right.
Man, definitely. This has been a good one. Hope you guys gained something from this. I know I fucking have. Really just taking a look back at who I was and being like, wow. Don't need to do that shit again. I don't need to take that ride again. I have
so much more peace now, bro. It's, oh my God.
Yeah.
And last thing, when you go off and do these things for yourself and you go through all this hardship of recreating yourself, you will have so much more peace. And the people around you, they'll still be in the same shit. If they don't change themselves, they will be in the same place you left them, and you will realize you have missed nothing.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that chick wouldn't even be able to talk to me. Now I'd be like, I would feel that energy in the first reaction, be like, "Hey, bye."
Right.
It's like it would just be a wall there. She'd probably look at me and just be like, and not even come and talk to me because the energy just wouldn't be there. But we can talk about that in a whole different episode, man. That whole energy exchange.
For sure.
But guys, definitely appreciate you tuning in. Hoping you watch this all the way to the end and listen carefully to these stories. Maybe took some notes because it's super important, man. It's super important.
Super important.
Yeah.
So find us on all of our social media: Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, as far as our sites, and everywhere podcasts are. So Apple Music,
Spotify,
YouTube,
Amazon Music,
podcasts.
Yep.
I'm not sure what the label of that is, but yes, we are everywhere.
Podcast. YouTube Music. So
YouTube Music.
So you actually find podcasts now on YouTube Music. So if you have the YouTube Music app, you can find the podcast there as well.
For sure. So, this has been about different relationship types and how you can kind of navigate towards them, because we want to make sure that we have every tool available at our disposal, because it's better to be a warrior in a garden
than a gardener in a war.
Catch you guys next time.
Take it easy.
Peace.